Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Famiboards Discussion Club, a podcast created by the Famiboards community and for the Famiboards community. This will be a place for us to chill out, talk about video games, and interact with you, the community. So if you would like to get in on the fun, please check out this podcast companion thread on Famiboards.com. To kind of introduce myself, my name is WestEgg. I am an administrator for Famiboards. I've kind of been around since the beginning. You've probably seen me in the Tears of the Kingdom ST and just other places around the site. Joined today by some lovely co-hosts. How about you, Irene?
Yeah, my name is Irene, and I'm a moderator, and I've also been around on Famiboards since the start. I like to say that I eat, breathe, and sleep Zelda, and I also eat, breathe, and sleep Metroid. And how about you, Bellydrum? Who are you?
Hey there, my name is bellydrum. I am a retired administrator and developer for Famiboards. These days I play games, make music, and code stuff for a living. I too am a Zelda person, although I would say my favorite game on the Switch would have to be Xenoblade 2.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it for me. I'm excited to talk about this direct. How about you, Volcanic?
Hey, I'm VolcanicDynamo. I'm a Fami original. I'm been around since the start of the forum, but this is the first major forum I've been on. I'm currently a moderator, and I'm also Famiboards' self-proclaimed #1 Super Mario fan. So if you've been in any Mario-related thread on the forum, there is a very high chance that I've been there. Love a lot of other Nintendo stuff too, but that plumber is my main squeeze, and as you can tell, I was pretty excited by this direct.
Well, this would be a good direct to be a big Mario fan because it was a good one. But before we get into that, I think it might be fun if we just kind of talk about what we've been playing lately.
I mean, I got in a huge Mario mood after Nintendo
Mhm.
Direct, pretty self-explanatory. So I've just been picking up some Mario games here and there and shipping away at save files on Galaxy One and Advance 2 and Sunshine and a little bit here and there. And right now I'm in Mario Advance 2 and sort of having fun with it and enjoying how well designed that game is. It's just incredibly has this super airtight level design to it and everything. And with the announcement of Super Mario Wonder, I really hope that we can get a 2D Mario game that matches Mario World finally. That would be so cool.
See, I'm a big fan of Super Mario Brothers 3, and I will argue with people about which is the better game.
We'll have to say that for another podcast discussion then, because I will throw down for Mario World, my favorite game of all time. But maybe we are making Kings fight. Speaking of which,
That's true.
Good point.
I am playing not enough Tears of the Kingdom and too much, or arguably just the right amount, of Picross. It's nice to have a Picross game that
Oh.
isn't going to take me a year to finish, but I'm hoping I can finish Tears before Pikmin 4 comes out. But anytime I play Tears of the Kingdom, I'm always like, ooh, a shrine, ooh, a Korok, ooh, a side quest, and I still haven't done more than one dungeon. So we'll see how that
jeez.
goes.
Finishing Tears of the Kingdom is something that is hard to grasp because it really is the game of the forever.
You don't finish Tears of the Kingdom, you just take a break from it.
I had a weird experience with finishing Tears of the Kingdom where since the minute I was able to play it, I started playing it and I just got lost in it and it was amazing. And then
Absolutely.
it was maybe a full week or week and a half where I was just vibing, doing my thing. And then I got to a specific point in the story where things kind of changed and I felt okay, I have to beat this game now. I had to solve this problem and go do it. And so that night I went and beat the game and all of a
Yes.
sudden it was just over. Like I hit credits and it was amazing and it was incredible. And I have a lot to say about the ending of the game, but to go from this free never-ending feeling of exploration and discovery to oh crap, I got to get to the end now was a very surreal feeling. And now I'm still, you know, doing stuff, but it's weird to all of a sudden not have like an ending to go look forward to. So I've had a very busy past month as well. So I've toned down on the Tears of the Kingdom a lot. But besides that, I just got Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster in the mail. I imported that because I must have every Final Fantasy on the Switch on a cartridge with no downloads required. So I needed to get the 1 through 6 on a cartridge. So I had a few flights this past month, and so that was kind of my airplane game, was just grinding Final Fantasy 1. I've never played them, so I just decided to start on 1, and I think I'm like halfway through that game.
You have
So yeah.
you have one hell of an experience when you get to 6. You really have it.
That's what I hear. So I'm not gonna lie, I did play like the first hour of 6.
Oh, really?
Because I did when I was a kid, younger, but I only played the beginning, and so I had to just go revisit that before actually starting with 1. But that's all I've really played this past month is Tears of the Kingdom. And
So I
Final
have
Fantasy.
tried many times and failed many times at getting into Final Fantasy, and I don't know why. Just every time I bounce off of it, and which is funny because I've actually gotten decently into Dragon Quest, but something about Final Fantasy I just have a block with. I've tried. I remember trying. I think it was 2 on the DS, 6, 12, and 14. Just all at different points, maybe a few others, but
You ever tried?
I've not
7 and
tried neither of those, and I've heard 9 in particular fits what I would like, so someday, but I don't know. But as far as what I've actually been playing, I also recently finished Tears of the Kingdom and have kind of been cooling down from that. I meant to get back into Octopath Traveler 2, but then I downloaded Etrian Odyssey and I've kind of been addicted to it. It's just a very
Nice.
chill game to like have a video or a podcast on and then just like kind of pull it up and explore the labyrinth. Like I'm kind of enjoying it.
Oh, those are good. Those are good games. Those are important to have. It's just like those.
Yeah, it's
podcast
kind of like
games.
Picross and like some of the other games we were talked about.
Yep, exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, of course you were thinking about Picross. I feel like people who play Picross are like
It's true.
Picross
It's so
guys.
true.
It's
You-
an
you start-
identity.
you pick up one of them,
I mean-
and then you suddenly own all of the 3DS games, and then you start buying all of the Switch games, and then you put 20 to 30 hours into each.
I don't know
entry,
anything about
and then
Picross.
it's your life. No thoughts, only Picross.
I don't know anything about Picross. All I know is that it's like it's like a Puyo kind of game, or just like a puzzle. I really
It is
don't
not
know
a
anything about it.
Puyo game.
All I know is that the icons. All I know is
Yeah.
all the icons look exactly the same.
It's
There's
like a
9
Sudoku
of them,
almost.
and people just like need them
Yeah,
all.
and
Which, like, much respect. Like, I could definitely see, like, I'm into games like that. I just don't know anything about it, and I'm
That's
frankly
that's
kind of
totally
scared
fair.
to scratch the surface.
As much as I'm sure a few people would be very excited about the concept, this is going to be a Nintendo Direct discussion episode rather than a Picross discussion episode, so we might want to go ahead and get into that. I mean, it can be if you really want it to be, but I think we do have a bit to talk about with the recent Direct.
Oh, we absolutely do.
All the Picross people just
They have
Side
turned off the
disappointment.
podcast. They have unsubscribed. They weren't already, but they subscribed to unsubscribe. They're leaving angry comments on Famiboards right now.
Look, guys, trust me. If you just leave some positive comments, I'll get more Picross into the next one. Trust me on this. We still got more Picross games to get through. It's gonna be great. Trust me.
All right, so but yeah, we finally got the Nintendo Direct. Everyone was kind of like, are we going to get one in June? Is Nintendo not going to do it because they're not sticking to the E3 schedule? But sure enough, we got our usual June Direct, and there was much rejoicing. So just kind of going through what was shown in the Direct, they kind of started off with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. Looks interesting. I have not actually played Pokemon Scarlet or Violet yet myself, despite owning it, but I don't know if any of you have strong thoughts about that.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising because I've put a pretty good amount of time into Scarlet and Violet. It might be currently the most played game on my Switch, OLED specifically. But I don't have too many thoughts about the DLC specifically. it looks neat. I saw Sentra in the trailer. I was delighted to see Sentra in the trailer, and then glad that Gligar is a version exclusive for the Scarlet DLC, because I really liked Gligar and Gliscor, and that's going to be great to see them again. I feel like this is going to be something that once it comes out and I play it, I'll be pretty excited, because the DLC was the high point of Sword and Shield, but right now I'm in that place where I'm just like, this is interesting. And then I just move on to the rest of the direct.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Like everyone loved like Scarlet and Violet. I don't have anything against it. It's just there were other things to play.
Oh, that's totally fair. Scarlet and Violet, I really like it, but I also will fully admit it's a very, very janky little game.
Oh, definitely.
So it definitely, has its pros and its cons. So
Irene, do you have any Pokemon thoughts?
Here's the thing. If I ever write about Pokemon on Famiboards, someone will have to contact the staff and ask who has hacked my account. Because I'm
not a fan.
No, it's not that I'm not a fan. It's like this huge blind spot on my Nintendo radar in a way, which is like
That's fair.
nothing against Pokemon. I guess it's a cool concept and stuff, but it's just like you are at the supermarket and you have your basket and you pick stuff. You pick like Xenoblade, you pick Mario, you pick Zelda, and it's full, and you can't fit Pokemon into it.
Yeah. I'm totally there with you. Like I have so many blind spots where like I kind of keep those blind spots on the DL. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna start saying them because I don't want to betray my Nintendo fandom. But like I'll just say like I have no idea what Kid Icarus is like. Like I don't know anything about so many seminal Nintendo games. I'm just like really into the ones that I'm into, and don't know much else. Pokemon though, that's a big one. That's a big one to. I feel like most people who miss out on Pokemon are because of its generational thing. Like they missed the.
Yeah, I
boat.
can totally see that. Yeah,
they're a little too
totally
old for it, because most people who got into it when they were kids, they're into it for good. Like for me, I've been playing Pokemon since Red and Blue. I mean, Pokemon Silver was the first one that I owned myself, and I was like super hyped on the lead up to the first Pokemon movie and the Pokemon Gold and Silver with brand new Pokemon, and that was like my first experience with Pokemon. I was the exact age for that. I was like 9 years old, and I've gone up and down on the series since then. But my partner and I, we play Pokemon together. She's really into it. We both are, and Scarlet and Violet, I thought were really good experiences. They, in a way, were exactly what I wanted from a Pokemon game on paper. I just have to compartmentalize the enjoyment I get from it, from like the extraordinarily budget, feel of it and the janky quality. If I'm able to look past that, I see, some pretty beautiful vistas, and I see what they're going for, and I really like it. And that's what I want from Pokemon games. But I could never, ever try to convince somebody that it's worth their money. It's just, for me, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I laughed when Volcanic mentioned their experience, because it's the exact experience that I have. It's the highest amount of hours on my Switch OLED, because I train up Pokemon competitively, and I battle online and keep up with each season and stuff. And I have a little team of competitive Pokemon, and I'll definitely be playing the DLCs. But at the same time, when I saw it, I was like, when I saw it in the Direct and it opened the Direct, it was the most like, oh, okay, cool reaction I could have had, because at this point, playing Pokemon games is so incredibly routine that it's the most exciting part is like the lead ups to them and the reveals of like new generations and new games, because playing them is like very enjoyable to me, but it's enjoyable in the same way that it's been for years. And I'm sure that this DLC will be the same it's like the same old,
Yeah.
you know.
So speaking of games that showed up in the direct, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's the thing that's in the direct. There were quite a few of them. Like obviously there were some highlights, but they did kind of their rushing through, and we had like Palia, we had Silent Hope, we had just kind of a bunch of smaller games. Did anyone have any thoughts that they really kind of wanted to shout out about, like kind of the non-focused games that were shown in the direct?
I definitely want to shout out for Star Ocean.
Oh hell yeah!
I think that's the same issue with the basket in the supermarket. There's so much JRPGs to focus on that you can't really commit time to everything everywhere. Like you're into everything, and then someone is like, "You should play Trails." You're like, "That too?" And but Star Ocean is one of the things I've never touched or never thought twice about. But I was really, really into and intrigued by Star Ocean: The Second Story R. It looked amazing. The
Yeah, I agree.
graphically, it looked stellar.
I saw a lot of people online describing it as just another HD 2D game and how tired they are of HD 2D games. That is not
Yeah.
HD 2D. Star Ocean: The Second Story R is not HD 2D graphics. Because they have sprites and because it is in HD does not make it an HD 2D game. Actually looks a lot more interesting and dynamic and bespoke than the 3 or so HD
Is Star
2D games that are
Ocean
out.
even a Square Enix IP?
No,
Because I
nobody
think
knows.
I don't know.
I think
tell you.
HD2D is like, yeah, it's like a copyrighted thing by Square Enix. So if it's not, it couldn't be, obviously. But
No, it's definitely not in that engine. I mean, it may be inspired by the recent popularity of that look, but it's definitely unique in that regard. I'll definitely be picking it up because I really like the first Star Ocean. Haven't beaten it, haven't even played it until it came out on the Switch, but that one did make me excited too. And you mentioned Palia. That is such a like breeze over game. I forgot it existed until just now, but I remember seeing it. It made me think of like Disney Dreamlight Valley or that one Square Enix farming
Which one?
game.
that's a good question.
Uh, the one.
Harvestella?
Yeah, Harvestella. So, and it made me think of Harvestella. But this one seemed kind of neat because, well, first of all, I would never pick up this game by myself, but my partner plays Disney Dreamlight Valley, Cozy Grove, Stardew Valley, Bear and Breakfast. Played a lot of New Horizons. She's really into like those kinds of comfy games with lots of stuff to do, and I think the fact that you can play with other people and invite each other to your houses without like a 3-minute loading screen, it seems really nice. And that's like something that is attractive about that game to me. Other than that, it looks straight up like Fortnite, or Dreamlight
Yeah,
Valley.
it's one of those games that like I feel it's covering an entirely different demographic that I'm not a part of. That like but like yeah, that looks interesting. I'm not quite interested in the semi MMO cozy farm like life simulator game.
I will say that I have a friend and who has played the early access of Paleo on PC, and she said she really liked it. So Paleo went from a game that I wasn't paying too much attention to this might be interesting to check out down the line. Would that be on the Switch or on PC? I'm not sure, but I think that was at least a promising sign that someone I knew was kind of into it. And speaking of games that I probably wouldn't play on my own, but if I had a friend or a group of friends to play it with, I'd probably be interested. Out of the smaller games, one of the ones that really caught my attention was Myth Force. I'm not a big first-person person. I'm not a big roguelike person with that, besides a few exceptions, but the cartoon aesthetic of that game was just very intriguing and very appealing, and the whole thematics around the game seemed particularly appealing. So I might give that one a shot when it comes around if I can scrounge up a few buddies who are willing to play it with me.
Myth Force looks cool. Like it's a game that like I could definitely see myself wanting to play if I had other people that wanted to play it. I love the aesthetic. I can get into roguelikes if I'm in the certain kind of mood for it. And I think it was kind of sold pretty well for being one of the more minor games shown in the Direct.
Yeah, agreed. A couple other things that sort of piqued my interest outside of the big ones. That bird game, Headbangers Rhythm Royale, looks hilarious. So I'll be
Yes.
Oh my
paying
god!
attention to that.
I thought that looked. I thought that looked so
It
dumb.
gives me like Fall Guys vibes.
Yeah.
I will say that the one part where they were bottles, like soda bottles, and they were shaking,
Oh yeah.
was hilarious.
Oh yeah, WarioWare isn't on our discussion list. I'm highly excited for the new WarioWare.
Oh yeah.
A sequel to Smooth Moves.
Or that was WarioWare, not the. That was the soda shaking game was WarioWare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Headbangers,
WarioWare.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I have nothing for Headbangers Rhythm Royale.
So
then.
I cannot recommend WarioWare enough for people that are like aware of it but haven't tried it. It is a lot of fun once you actually like get into playing it, especially like if you're playing it with like friends and stuff.
Oh, for sure. I'm also surprised they're coming out with a new one so soon after Get It Together happened. I mean, I'm not complaining, but
I think they're pretty cheap to make, if I had to guess.
They're also pretty different. You know, they're different like Super Mario Party and Mario Party Superstars were. Super Mario Party required use of Joy-Con, and Mario Party Superstars was like, you know, Pro Controller compatible. And this definitely seems like a two very different types of interfacing with the micro games. So I think that kind of justifies.
oh,
their
for sure.
back-to-back
And I'm really
releases.
glad that we get to have this range of releases, especially since not everyone liked Get It Together that much. I stuck around for all 52 weeks of those like tournament matches, but
Oh, you did that?
I did every single one, and
You are a champion.
thank you.
Whoa.
I had to post about it
Whoa.
every week.
That's
had to
very,
post
like,
about it every
Picross.
week in the ST. You know, you kind of had to.
Oh, that was you that was posting. That was you that was making all those,
I tried
those
my
consistent
best.
posts.
I tried my best. Yeah,
Wasn't it? I remember that. I admired that. I will say I admired that somebody was like consistently playing each week. And actually, it was it was because of you doing that I would pop in and remember to do those sometimes. So
See, Nintendo,
know,
I'm great at advertising your games. Expect the check in my inbox, in my mail by next week.
before we shift into Mario mode, I did want to say one thing that did very much subvert my expectations was Just Dance 2024. I thought that game very much looked like Just Dance's Breath of the Wild.
That's a take.
Okay.
They very much are reinventing themselves and are likely to bring in a lot of new players and satisfy their existing player base. I think that's very much looking forward to where they take the series
That's
from here on out.
that's the real system stuff.
But seriously, I did think that it is. I do think it's very bold of Nintendo to invite thousands, if not 100,000 people to watch a Nintendo Direct live, only to force us to sit through a Splatoon 3 Infinite announcement.
Okay.
I think that's very. I think it's very like it just shows Nintendo's boldness. I think to like innovate with Splatoon 3 by allowing us to click in the left stick to skip the announcements for the first time in this series, but still to bring us into a direct and have us sit through something that we literally cannot skip again. That just is so.
So
hilarious to me.
they announced the Splatfest. The choices were vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate mint. And I enjoy chocolate mint as much as the next person, but man, chocolate fans absolutely robbed and devastated.
Well, maybe they shouldn't be because.
Is it because of the color?
Oh, it's absolutely because of the color, for sure. They would
Oh,
not
yeah.
go with that in color. But honestly,
I mean, they did mayonnaise and ketchup once, like.
yeah, but I don't know. It could also be visibility with brown ink. I mean, hey, it doesn't
Hey.
really matter because everyone knows that chocolate would lose because it's the worst ice cream flavor. Team vanilla for life, by the way.
Fair.
Team Vanilla.
It's
Chocolate's the poop.
Yeah, I could see people doing it for that specific reason. Before we jump into Mario RPG, I have a couple quick, just a couple quick takes I kind of wanted to get out. Which one was it? Silent Hope. They have a part where they show a large abyss and they dive into it and end up in an underworld. And literally everyone thought of Tears of the Kingdom. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one. And aside from that, I was going to talk about how just the sheer robbery of the chocolate fans for Splatoon 3. And I don't think anyone really was excited for Detective Pikachu, aside from we already had the Pokemon talk, but it looks worse than the 3DS game.
I was wondering if we were actually going to go through the whole thing not mentioning.
I just kind of wanted to get that take out there.
You're not wrong. I
Okay.
was watching the trailer during the direct, and I was looking at this, and I was wondering, wait, is this a sequel, or is this just a port of the original game? Because it looks like a 3DS game. Then I went back, I looked at the 3DS game, and I'm like, wait a minute. The 3DS game, in some regards, at least in terms of like a lot of the color choices, kind of looks more pleasing than this one. I mean, I think it might be just the lack of lighting on most of these models, but the game kind of looks like it's very rough. That doesn't mean anything about the gameplay because I've never played Detective Pikachu 1, late era 3DS release. So maybe Detective Pikachu Returns will be a really fun game, and I'm hoping that's the case, especially for the Detective Pikachu fans. But I'm definitely taking a sort of wait and see approach on that because I'm not really sure about how I feel about it.
I'm going to be real with you. I thought it looked like duty.
Okay.
It
Let's
looks really
pay
bad,
no more time
in
to
my
Detective Pikachu. It doesn't need it. Let's talk about happy things like Super Mario RPG.
Wait. We need to talk. Just one last take.
Okay.
We need to talk about everybody 1, 2. Never mind.
Okay.
I can't believe we got through this whole discussion and we haven't even brought up Pikmin 4.
We're going to. I figured that would be a larger point because that was introduced a little later in the direct.
That's fair. Should I wait to mention Penny's Big Breakaway then? Or does that count as a highlight? Or should
Go for it.
It's the next game by the Sonic Mania dev team, and that already is enough for me to be interested, but it also just looks really good. They're getting a lot of use out of using a yo-yo as a mechanic for attacking, for moving, for doing all sorts of different things. And if I trust any team to know about good movement and momentum in a platforming space, it's Evening Star. Especially after not having them do Sonic Superstars, which does look really good, by the way. I was itching to know about what they do next. I'm glad I didn't have to wait much longer after the announcement of Superstars. So, really glad they got a direct spot. Might be my second favorite game of the direct, actually.
So that game does look pretty interesting and great. Like, I liked the animation style, I liked the gameplay I saw. If I were to be entirely honest, if they hadn't said it was by the Sonic Mania team, I probably wouldn't be quite as interested, because there are a whole bunch of, the 3D platform revival games that kind of like Yooka-Laylee, like Hat in Time and stuff, that came out that people were excited about that I didn't quite latch onto in the same way.
That's fair. I was kind of digging it already before they said that it was the Sonic Mania team, but no, I totally understand. But I do think that this one feels like solidly scoped. They know what they're going for. Oh, this is a linear game. Here's, we're going to focus on the movement, do all that kind of stuff. And I think that's helpful.
Okay, and yeah, that's fair. And you had brought up Sonic Superstars. We might as well mention that real quick. I do have to say that, like, the game looks good. I am a classic Sonic stan. I played like a little bit of Adventure and never got into any of the other 3D games, so I'm that person. But it looks fine. It looks apparently the feedback's been good from playtesters and stuff, or people who played it at demos. And it was for like a bright and shining moment, the premier 2D platformer that was going to release this year, and then the plumber said no, but we'll get to that.
The plumber said, "Hey, we're gonna release a game in the same week. Well, let's go, all right."
This was the year Mario chose violence. Like, whether it be in the movie theaters, whether it be releasing Mario Wonder alongside Spider-Man 2 and Sonic Superstars, and even Mario RPG is releasing the same day as Persona 5 Tactica. Mario just chose violence this
And
year.
honestly, good
Absolutely.
for him. Good for him, because I've been sitting through these past few directs waiting for a substantial Mario announcement. And it's like, oh, here's another course of the Mario Kart 8 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC. And don't get me wrong, I love Mario Kart. I made that ST for a reason. But I'm still sitting there, I'm just like, I'm waiting. When's the next big one? And then they just reveal like 4 or 5 Mario projects coming to the Switch. And I'm just like, yes.
I have to ask this of the group: who has actually played Super Mario RPG?
Played about half of it.
Me.
Okay.
I have.
Irene, did you play it?
Actually, no.
Okay, so I am excited for everyone who has not played through it because it is a delightful game,
Woo!
and the remake looks very faithful to that.
Yeah.
That's great.
The first thing that really like struck me about the remake is, oh hey, they're really splitting the difference between something that's clearly meant to be more of the modern Mario art style, all the Mario characters got like a character update, but they still keep that a super deformed sort of cutesy look that the pre-rendered sprites went for, and I think it looks great. I'm very glad that it's not an HD
yeah.
2D game like some people were suggesting. That idea never really made sense to me.
Oh yeah, no, they made him a short little guy, and
Everyone is
I
short
think
little
that's
guys in this
important.
game, and it's delightful. And
He looks like his sprite
Yeah.
in the game.
and all the characters do, besides obviously a lot of the Mario characters being updated. The original NPCs look basically the same. All of the Toads, there are a couple shots with the Toads that actually look pretty much just like they did in the original. I think the only exception is that they made the mushroom retainers in the castle besides the Toad wear red vests to differentiate them from Toad, which is actually more diverse than the original game, so props to that. But the Toads, all the other NPCs look like Boshi looked right, all the enemies looked right. Especially after having to few people worry about like the Mario and the Luigi remakes, which made slight changes, but made mostly just slight changes, but otherwise kept it. But that being pushed as like a really significant deal. And to be fair, in some regards, it was pretty significant, some of the changes. It's nice to see that this one is updating, but still keeping a lot of the same stuff from the original. And that makes me excited, even as someone who's only played like half of the original.
Well, that kind of brings up a thought that I had. I had this discussion yesterday, actually. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. I wanted to get your opinions on this. So this is a remake through and through, where they're completely rebuilding it from the ground up. That much is clear. But it is very much a one-to-one, as faithful as possible to the original game, much like Link's Awakening for Nintendo Switch was. And in terms of remakes, that can mean several things. For example, you have the Final Fantasy VII remake, which is a complete reimagining of the concepts, or not the concepts, but it's like a complete reimagining of the action and the locations and even the gameplay itself, almost to the point where by remake they mean we are doing what we couldn't do because of the limitations of the hardware. Whereas this remake of Super Mario RPG is we're ignoring what we can do now because we don't have those limitations, and instead we are recreating exactly what the game was, but with a new coat of paint. And I wanted to get your thoughts on if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, or
I always
something
think
else.
that remakes can be a case of if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it can also be a case of if it's not broke, fix it anyway because we want to. So remakes are like two gradients of how much do you want to improve upon it and also how much do you want to change. And in the case of Super Mario RPG, I haven't played it obviously, but where it falls on these two gradients, is that they don't think that, if it's not broke, don't fix it in terms of the core central game. but the overhaul of the graphics is a concrete creative choice. I think any game, in a way, can benefit from a complete reimagining because you can do so much with something while still keeping the original visions and stuff intact. But in terms of Super Mario RPG, I think it's an active decision to not fix what ain't broke in terms of the base game. So I think that it's a choice that they have made, just like with Link's Awakening Switch, which you brought up, that it's a choice that they have actively made, that you have to like wonder that if they would take huge liberties with it, would it be make the game better or make the game worse? And some people might say that doing a remake like that is playing it safe, while others might feel like, yeah, it's good that they're playing it safe and just sticking to overhauling the graphics. So it's a difference of opinion depending on how much creative liberties the team wants to take with the word and the concept remake.
Yeah, so I think it really ties into what I view as Nintendo's philosophy when it comes to remakes, in that they really want to preserve the experience. And that's why Link's Awakening is the way it is. They just wanted to make Link's Awakening accessible with like modern conveniences, but still keep the game intact for new audiences. Because they're like, Nintendo's like, we make games, we make really good games, and the games continue to be good well after they've aged a bit. We just want to bring that forward to a new audience. And granted, this is technically Square Enix, but it's a Mario game. It's going to have Nintendo's input on how they proceed.
And Prime Remastered was the same thing.
Oh yeah, Prime Remastered was also 1-to-1. I was completely happy with. I couldn't have been happier with Link's Awakening on the Switch. Link's Awakening is in my top 3 favorite games of all time. It's very close to my heart, and to have Link's Awakening be one of the first Zelda games on the Switch was like it made my year for me. I mean, like I've played and beaten it so many times now, and it just brings me back to when I was a kid playing it on my Game Boy in the car, and to have it be 1-to-1 like that is exactly what I wanted. You know, I would have been happy with a direct port of the game, like the Game Boy version. Would have been happy with that, and we did get that too, actually. But I imagine that people who like feel that same way about Super Mario RPG feel the same way. Who they would have been happy with a direct port, but just to have the game be 1-to-1, but look nicer, seems like it was a good idea. And from what I can tell, the consensus is that everybody seems extremely happy with.
Yeah,
how
I've been watching like online reactions and Twitter talk and everything about the game, and it definitely seems like it was maybe it seems like it was the dark horse big announcement of the Direct. Like, obviously, I think Nintendo thought it was going to be a big announcement. They gave it huge framing, but I think it's bigger than they thought it would be. Like, it's already apparently the top game on like Amazon's bestsellers list. It's above Mario World. It's above Final Fantasy 16 and Tears of the Kingdom right now. It's blowing up huge in a way I think they didn't expect.
Yeah, Mario RPG is that game that has such reverence behind it, such fan adoration. This is something that when I was a very little kid who was born a little before Mario RPG came out, but was way too young to play it, I go on and I see like early Mario fan spaces, and people just talk about and gush about Super Mario RPG as this big event. And it sold pretty well back in the day too, especially for like an RPG released in North America and one not released, in Europe and Australia. So the hype has really been there, and now to see it like really beautiful, and you got the remix Shoko Shimomura music and the slight UI tweaks that will also like make certain things like more approachable, like knowing which attacks are blockable and unblockable and stuff like that. I think this has a chance to like be really successful. You never know with like a late era like Switch game, or what is something that is technically a spin-off, but I'm feeling pretty good about this game's chances. I think it'll at least easily outsell the original's 2 or so million copies.
Yeah, I expect it to be the best-selling Mario RPG in general. Like, I hadn't played when I first played it. I played it on the SNES Mini. That was my first time playing through. I had come in with the perspective of being a fan of the Paper Mario games, And I figured this was going to be like proto Paper Mario. It was going to be like more simplified, more safe, and it's not. It goes places. It is ambitious. Like, you will be surprised playing it.
But the best way I could put it, and this may be either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how anyone feels, is I feel like the Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi games are Mario RPGs, while Super Mario RPG is an RPG with Mario in it. A lot of the stuff that was
That's fair.
introduced for those two games, like the timed hits and the platforming on the overworld, are there, but it's still very much filtered through the lens of, oh yeah, this is an SNES Squaresoft RPG, and again, that could be either a good thing or a bad thing. But I will say, it's a pretty good beginner-friendly RPG, but it's also really charming. So, Irene, if you really like RPGs and you want an RPG, but with Mario in it, I think Super Mario RPG will serve you and everyone else really well.
I mean, I do really, really love Origami King, so everything speaks towards me absolutely jumping on the Mario RPG remake, because I was like a total noob on Mario RPG games in general, but then I was like, yeah. You have, I think most of us has had the voucher situation with Tears of the Kingdom, where you go like, oh, voucher, yeah, save money. And you're sitting there like, what do I use it on? And I was kind of haven't really thought much about Origami King, but I took a shot and I'm loving that game. It's so good.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're glad.
It's so...
Was that your first? Was
Yeah,
that your first
my
game
first.
in the Mario,
Yeah.
story
I have
RPG
not
realm?
touched our Mario RPG or Mario and Luigi RPG before that. So Origami King is just such a good game with divisive combat system, but that I personally really adore.
Yeah.
I stand as the only person in the world who
You do
enjoyed the
not
combat
stand
system
alone.
throughout the entire game.
I also liked it.
So both of us then. I think just the Rubik's Cube nature of it just felt, comfy. It was just a good thing to do between, walking around. And I liked it. I liked that game. I played it and beat it, and then my partner also played it separately and beat it, and we both very much enjoyed it. And I mean, I grew up playing Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and I've always thought of that as sort of the, my ideal Mario RPG experience. I've played Super Mario RPG, but I got about halfway through. I never owned it, but I see the Mario and Luigi games as like the successor to the Super Mario RPG game, and they've changed a lot over the years, but I think that the spirit of Mario has been consistent throughout all of it. Like the characters are so lovable, and in Super Mario RPG all the way to the Origami King.
They are.
The jokes are
They
funny
really are.
for the most part in the games that I've played. I thought parts of Origami King were genuinely hilarious. Like, I literally laughed out loud at several moments. But I'm excited to revisit Super Mario RPG and actually beat it this time. Mallow is my favorite character by far. I think that he is cute and adorable, and the whole idea of his sort of character arc is a hilarious take on classic hero's journey tropes, and with Frog Fuchsius, and I think that whole storyline is hilarious, and that's always kind of what stuck out to me about that game was the characters and not necessarily the.
I'm curious
battle
how
system.
people will view Geno, because Geno's obviously like mimetically popular these days because of the Smash campaign and just the reputation of the game itself. To the point where I think people are going to be surprised how he's actually characterized in the game, because he's not like a crazy like violent badass like he kind of is portrayed online, because he has like guns for hands, but no, he's actually like a chill, cool dude.
Yeah. The impression I always got of Gino as someone who's only played a little bit of Mario RPG is that he is probably the coolest a Mario character is allowed to get. But he's definitely not like an edgy character, but he, compared to all of the cute little Scrimble Bimblos, he gets the cool one, and that already immediately is like a massive appeal. You can tell what that little toad likes playing with the Geno doll, and that's why that's his favorite. And they're gonna make sure you know that.
Who was it that said Gino is the Boba Fett?
I did
of
see that,
Mario
and
RPG?
yeah, that is a very apt description.
Very, very funny.
Yeah, I never got the appeal. Well, I get the appeal of Gino. You know, he's the badass, cool guy. I just don't know how you can look at the ensemble cast and not immediately see Mallow and think that is the funniest thing that I've ever seen in a game. That like,
It helps in the game itself that Gino is one of the more powerful characters.
But sometimes people just don't appreciate a cute little boy, and I think people need to appreciate him more.
If I recall, I didn't use Mallow too much, but Mallow has kind of like very utility powers and is a little more like wildcardish. So he's more technical to play as than say I think I had kind of the ideal setup where it's Mario, Peach, and Gino.
So what you're saying is that people not loving Mallow is a skill issue. I understand now.
I think that's fair to say actually. But
I think if you're not using Mallow, you have higher skill because you're not using the most powerful character in the game. I mean, I don't actually know who's the most powerful character in the game. When I played Mario RPG, I was not into RPGs at the time. Growing up, I only really played Pokemon and like some Super Nintendo RPGs, but it wasn't until like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that I started getting obsessed with RPGs and revisiting RPGs of the past and buying every single one on the Switch that I could. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna be revisiting this game with like the technical mechanics aspects in mind.
It took me forever to realize that you were not talking about Mallow from Twilight Princess.
oh no!
Very, very different Mario RPG.
All right, so I'll kind of use that to we'll move on a bit from Mario RPG, but immediately after they talked about Mario RPG, they announced 2 more games, which were the Untitled Princess Peach game and a port of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
I'm really glad that we're finally getting another Princess Peach game, even if we know barely anything about it. It's been so long since Super Princess Peach. We know that game has a reputation, despite it's a fine game, but yeah, a little stereotypical. So to have something new, like Magical Girl stage play style kind of deal, very appealing. Looking forward to it. Wish we knew more.
That's kind of the thing. We don't really know too much about it. It's I've heard people speculating it might be like a River City style brawler because of the side scrolling. It could be anything else. And I'd be down for that, but they just kind of showed Peach walking across the stage. They showed her standing on a spot doing some kind of magical girl transformation. And they're like, and that's all you get.
They didn't even show us what she transformed
A
into.
stage,
Left us with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
like any good play would. Honestly,
I've
it's all tied together.
I've seen mostly positive responses to the Peach game, which is surprising given how little they showed and told us. I think that's. I got the impression that the Peach game and the Dark Moon HD game were probably late additions to the Direct, and my impression that I got was that, as far as I understood, they had an investors meeting or a quarterly meeting later that week, and they really wanted to get it out there that yes, they are bringing a lot of Mario stuff to the Switch, and they even drilled it in by saying Mario fans have a lot to look forward to, and they wanted to make it clear to investors and everybody who was concerned about the fact that there was no Mario on the slate.
Nintendo has forgotten about Mario.
You know, that they wanted to make it clear that they are indeed bringing a lot of Mario stuff to the Switch. And so I think that's kind of why they didn't quite have something ready to show, but they felt like they had to show something anyway, and that's why we got what we got.
No, I think that's totally fair. I wouldn't. I don't want to start this speculation, but I wouldn't be surprised if that could even potentially be a next generation Switch game. Just because they were kind of really coy about it. Like nothing about the visuals jumped out to me. I'm just kind of thinking the relative timing of it.
They were totally showing Switch 2 footage. That was totally, yeah, without a doubt. That was it.
Well, it's not even that. I think I don't know. It was just kind of a thought I had where. Like you said, it seemed like a game they announced because they kind of want to capitalize on the Mario momentum that we have right now with the movie making a ton of money, with just people being high on the brand. It's like, yes, these are coming, but I could see this not having been planned as a game coming anytime soon for that reason.
Yeah. I could see it potentially being like a cross-gen, like an early cross-gen title. I guess it really depends on if it will absolutely hit 2024 or not. The fact that the glimpse we did see was of like actual like straight up gameplay is a promising sign. Maybe that's a sign that it will come out in a reasonable clip, but again, we don't know for certain. And the Dark Moon port, it's neat. It's pretty known quantity. God, it really has been a decade since that game came out. Really are a decade out from the fabled Year of Luigi, aren't we?
I'll get it. I'll definitely pick up the game. I never finished it on the 3DS. I played like the first couple missions and then it kind of just fell off. Which, that's not to say it's a bad game. I just lost interest, but I'll probably pick it up on the Switch just to, kind of have them all and have like so that I would have played through the whole series.
It was a fun 20 hours. It was a fun 20-ish hours, and that was pretty enjoyable. Speaking of like having it all on the Switch, we're getting a lot of Pikmin, huh?
Yes, all of the Pikmin except for Hey Pikmin, which that's probably fine with the Pikmin fans.
Yeah, we don't talk about Hey Pikmin.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put this out there. The only Pikmin I've completed is Pikmin 3. I think I've like dabbled a bit in the first game, never touched the second game, so I'm a relative Pikmin casual.
Yeah, actually same.
Well, I don't know if I'd call that casual. I mean, well, I've also only beaten Pikmin 3. I've never touched the other two. Or Pikmin 3 Deluxe is the only one that I've played, but I've 100% absolutely everything that you can do in that game and beaten the story mode multiple times. Like, I've done everything you can do in Pikmin 3 Deluxe, even the multiplayer parts, and like I absolutely love that game. To me, that is
It's a very good
make
game.
that Pikmin 3 of us, because Pikmin 3 is also the only Pikmin game that I've actually finished basically 100%, though on the Wii U version. I own 2. I was very bad at it as a kid, and I've only ever rented 1. So the fact that we're getting the ports is pretty good, though I am going to be waiting for that physical release in September. You can't fool me with that Shadow Drop. You didn't get me with Metroid. You're not going to get me with Pikmin. I'm going to wait. Irene, can we make that a Pikmin 4 out of 4? Or would these new Pikmin games be your first experience with the franchise?
I'm gonna be super contrarian and say that.
Oh boy,
I hate Pikmin.
No, not that I hate Pikmin, but I have only finished Pikmin 1 and never touched Pikmin 3. So
okay.
So I'm.
You're OG.
I'm completely the opposite of you all, and super classic and super OG and everything like that. Pikmin 1 is a stone cold classic that I cannot recommend enough. It also has that, like, Nintendo was on fire during the GameCube years. They really were. And they had such a willingness to experiment and just throw out wild stuff here and there. And Pikmin really, really shows how they can just go and completely nail a concept when they're super confident in it. And I know it's a watershedder with the time limit, but as someone who likes time limits in games, hello, Majora's Mask, I think it serves a good purpose from a game design standpoint, that it causes like intentional stress that contributes to the experience, I think. And I really think it adds to Pikmin 1 feeling like stressful in a good way, and it makes you feel like the goal goals you're accomplishing really matters. And I just think I'm glad that the shadow drop happened, and also glad that you're getting the physical release in when that releases, because it's so good.
Yeah, I feel like Pikmin 1 is going to be a game that I'm going to appreciate a lot more as an adult, because when you're renting a game for a week and you're bad at video games and you see all your Pikmin die and there's a time limit and you're just like, oh no, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But now that I am hopefully better at video games than I was when I was like 20 years younger, oh my god, time flies, I'll be able to like really get into it, and maybe I'll finally beat Pikmin 2 as well. So that'll be pretty good. And hey, you know what they say, 1 + 3 = 4, and Pikmin 4 is looking really good.
Oh,
It does.
I loved what they showed with Pikmin 4. I adore it. They just knocked it out of the park with that game and showed so much cool stuff that you can do, and introduced like all these new concepts with the glow Pikmin and how they contribute to like making nighttime a part of the experience in a way that feels frightening but still like has its purposes.
People talk a lot about how Zelda has a confusing timeline. I want to talk about the Pikmin timeline, because it, like, the first game seems to be like a post-apocalyptic Earth, and then they kind of maintain that, and then the new one's just in like a modern-day house. Like, it doesn't look like anything. It just seems like now it's just straight up Earth, like modern day.
I noticed that too. The first thought I had was like, okay, if there's like some apocalyptic event that happened or whatever, it must have just happened or something. But then I immediately caught myself and realized that just like the Zelda timeline stuff, I literally do not care, and it does not matter to me. And all I care about is if the game is fun. And so
I think they're like just straight up that the planet that Pikmin takes place on, the one that is for all intents and purposes Earth, it has some weird time stuff going on in universe. Because I think from like Olimar's perspective, there's not a long gap between Pikmin 1 and 2, but apparently it's like thousands of years on the planet for some reason, like just that they gauged it. So there's like time dilation, but also maybe going back in time and stuff too. Like, so whatever happened to the Pikmin world was weird and messed with time.
Oh, and yeah, it's a definitely interesting mix. Cause hey, I still remember playing Pikmin 2, even a little bit I had. Hey, I was collecting pristine looking Nintendo objects and Duracell batteries, which are now brand free in the new version, because we don't want to pay those licensing fees, and Skippy. That's and funny. Perfectly unopened jars and clean of Skippy peanut butter. So whatever makes the game more fun in terms of, oh, let's do some fun level design, let's change up how things work, like this being set in a house, and even the caves being like, oh, this looks kind of like the basements and internal workings of the house. Whatever makes it more
let's
fun,
add a dog. I'm
for it. Bring it on.
Fun and cool always precedes
timelines,
lore consistency in my eyes. Like that's why I play Nintendo games, is because they prioritize fun and the experience of gameplay over some like Star Wars or Marvel level timeline or anything like that. I couldn't.
And you get a dog. You get a cute little Lochi.
Lochi, he's my new buddy. I want to go. I'm really tempted to buy that plush and hold him in my.
There is an
Ochi plush on Amazon Japan,
God.
and I'm so close to buying it. If you go on the Sine thread, there's a link to it that shows pictures, and there's also one of the water Pikmin. They're so cute, and I want it. I'm so tempted. I'm so close.
That
to getting it.
That is interesting information.
Before we finish up talking about the Mario stuff, I think, is there anything else, any other games or anything that anybody
there was some decent showing for third parties and games I'm vaguely interested in. There was the Metal Gear Solid collection.
Nice to have that portable, yeah.
It's a series I've always kind of wanted to get into, but just haven't, so I might pick that up. Same with the Batman Arkham games.
So many people are going to be playing this for the first time.
And then Vampire Survivors is probably, it's a nice thing to have on Switch as well.
I think the seeing the co-op really does just justify that port over just being like a PC Android. Is it on Xbox? I remember looking it up before the recording. I thought it was on Xbox, but I don't actually know. but still, like you said, nice to have. Anything else that's really big? Oh, Dragon Quest Monsters. I'm not like a big Dragon
Oh
Quest
yeah,
person personally, but the one Dragon Quest game I put really a significant amount of time into was Dragon Quest Monsters Joker back on DS. So it's kind of nice to like see another Dragon Quest Monsters game, even if I'm not gonna rush to pick this one up. I was talking to some people. Apparently, this one is like tied into Dragon Quest 4 in some way.
I think it had the hero from it. They showed at the end of the
Yeah.
trailer.
So that's pretty neat. Don't know much about that, but hey, it's kind of fun with these. I know a lot of these Dragon Quest spin-offs have been like the Builders games have been like tying into it, some of the numbered entries more. So I think that's pretty neat.
Builders is great. Yeah, I'm just gonna give a quick shout to Builders 2 particular. I really love that game.
Oh, those games were awesome. They came out kind of early in the Switch lifespan, and I think it was just a nice little, cute Dragon Quest-y RPG to have.
All right, so I think we can probably go ahead and get into the Mario's unresolved business that we still need to talk about. So we had a few other Mario announcements. We had the Mario Rabbids DLC, The Last Spark Hunter.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that. I played Sparks of Hope, and I beat it a little bit
Same.
after it came out. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is one of my favorite games on the Switch. I think it's fantastic. I love the sort of puzzle box style battles, and I think it's just paced really well. It's a good length, and then the DLC was a whole second game. It was Donkey Kong themed. I think overall it was just a fantastic game, and it looked gorgeous. The Sparks of Hope sequel, the way I feel about that game is that while I'm playing it, I really enjoy arranging and optimizing my sparks and, shifting my team around for a certain battle. I always enjoy doing that. But while I'm not playing it, I feel kind of negatively about it because all I really remember and think about is just how much worse it looks than the first game in terms of like graphics and quality. There's, trees and objects in the background will like flip between different levels of detail, and just textures look very, low quality. And I encountered a bug during my gameplay actually that prevented me from completing one of the quests. And I was actually DMing with David Soliani on Twitter, letting him know a bug report since I wasn't like part of the Discord or anything like that. And they came out with an update that specifically fixed that bug, but the fix was preventing people from encountering it, not undoing and resetting for people who already experienced it. So unless I want to start over entirely, I'm completely locked out from 100% of that game. And so that really took the wind out of my sails. But I beat the story, and it's very different. The battle system is very different from the first game, which I think is really cool. And I like that they innovated on the combat system and made it more freeform. But at the same time, it feels a little bit less precise and tactical than the first game. And I think overall, after sitting on it for a while, I have to say that I still like the first game more. However, I did start the Last Spark Hunter DLC yesterday, and I'm enjoying it. Everything that I've described is not like keeping me from playing it and keeping me from enjoying it. I'm always pretty good at looking around graphical issues and other things that don't directly affect my interaction with the game mechanics. Partially why I was able to enjoy Pokemon Scarlet and Violet so much. But I'll probably, take my time with this and play other games in between. And overall, I'm pretty glad that it came out. I'm happy to play it, but it's not something that I'm super hyped about, like I was for the Donkey Kong DLC.
That's fair. Game. I played through Sparks of Hope. I obviously made the ST on Famiboards for it, and I enjoyed it. I haven't touched the DLC yet, but I might, especially when they come around with like the Rayman DLC.
You might enjoy it.
Yeah, it's something that's not a priority, but if I get the urge to go back into it, I wouldn't mind playing through the DLC.
I got the season pass as soon as it came out because I knew that I was going to be,
Yeah.
I wanted to be all in, and it's been so off my mind since then that I actually went to go buy the last Spark Hunter DLC because I forgot that I had already bought it, and then I saw it, I'd already purchased it. So, that's just how little mind share that the game has given.
Okay, that's fair.
For me.
Had Volcanic or Irene, had either of you played through Mario Rabbids? Do you have thoughts on it?
I have never.
I still need to finish the first one.
I really like them both and give them
Not my
recommendations.
unopened copy of Sparks of Hope waiting, looking at me disappointedly. I wonder which game is looking at me more disappointedly, Sparks of Hope or the Origami King. We'll find out.
Origami King.
Origami King, definitely.
Can't believe I'm gonna have to turn in my
Alright.
Mario fan cap. But then I'll put it back on so that we can talk about the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass Wave 5.
There's a bathroom.
I've been hearing like leaks from Mario Kart Tour about the the bathroom course since like I think September. So
Really?
yeah, no, this has been the concept of there being a bathroom course and some of the object in it has been like a known quantity for a long time now. So it's kind of surreal, like actually seeing the bathroom.
Is the bathroom in the same house as like the bedroom course? Is there like a giant Mario house or just a house where they like shrink down? Like, what is the Mario lore?
It's actually the Pikmin 4 house.
Oh no!
Oh no. We're gonna pretend.
The lore.
I'm gonna pretend that they just had a bunch of bitty mushrooms and they went on this course and they're having a good time. They're having a good time.
That's the
I
next
swear.
game. That is the next game we'll talk about. But anyway.
No, the bathroom course honestly does look really nice. They did a really good job of having an interesting layout and hitting all the fun parts of a bathroom. Like you got the tub, you're going into this, you're going down the toilet, you're going into like the sewers. There's even like a ring in the course that you drive past. So you go on the shelving. There's a lot of great decorations. A lot of the tiles in the back are themed after the Mario 1 sprites, and because it is tiles, it actually is kind of like sprite work. All the fun branding stuff. And with like the shampoos and all of the bath products, it's a really fun looking course. And given how good the Yoshi's Island course was, and how interesting the currently Tour exclusive but probably coming to Tour Piranha Plant Cove looks, I think this will be a really like fun course to drive on, and I'm really looking forward to trying it once the DLC drops, probably sometime in July.
I'll be honest and say that like I'm kind of past the point where I'm hyped about Mario Kart. Like I like the games. Like the new course announcements and character announcements aren't really doing it for me like the way like Smash might, and I appreciate them, but it's just not the thing I look forward to in the directs right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I actively look forward to them as much, even as somebody who runs the ST. But when it happens, like, oh, hey, that's nice. And then I actually get my hands in it, and I hear the wonderfully jazzy music, and I play the chorus, and it's like, oh, this is really great. It does kind of help that the updates and the waves have just kind of been getting much better as they go on. Wave 1 was kind of weak, but then Wave 2 was better, and then Wave 3 was pretty good, and then Wave 4 rebalanced the game, and we got starting to get new characters in the original course. So over time, it feels like the scale has been like adjusted and grown, and the updates to the graphics from Tor have been getting like stronger and stronger. So that's what makes me look forward to like these back half of waves the most. The fact that once I get my hands in it and I play it, it's gonna be really good. And we got 3 new characters. Kamek is finally in a console Mario Kart game. They've been, that was the hopes of a lot of people since Kamek was originally going to be in Mario Kart 64, but was cut. So having that here brought in from Tor, that's really cool. And there are 2 more slots, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay. All right, then probably what is the main event, probably the game that the most people are talking about as far as the direct goes, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, a new 2D Mario game. This was something that had been pretty rumored, and then it came out, we saw the trailer, and there was a lot to discuss about it.
Yeah, like, I can't believe how Nintendo just announced the Game of the Year just like that, coming out in less than 4 months. people talking about Zelda, nah, that's Mario Wonder. It's no wonder that it is such a great game. Okay, to be serious though, wow, what a trailer.
I'm just blown away. I'm so happy that like Mario is weird again, and Mario is
Yeah.
incoherent again. And the thing about Mario that clicks so hard, it clicks so hard with World, it clicks with Galaxy, it clicks with Odyssey, it clicks with like 3D World, and yeah, everything. Is that Mario makes sense because it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
That's well put.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you play Super Mario World, and it's like, oh, here's like an American football player, which makes sense because it doesn't make sense. And you have that moment in almost every frame with Super Mario Wonder, which makes me so excited for it and makes me look forward to it so much that it's like, of course, the pipe is like acting like a snake because it doesn't make sense. And of course, everything is shadows because it doesn't make sense. And of course, this happened. And there's like rainbow bullet bills that are like, yeah,
Coming
it's
down from
so,
the sky.
so good. Yeah.
I think my pie in the sky dream for first party release before the end of the Switch generation was a 2D Mario game. I always felt like that would be the perfect thing to cap it off. You know, not that it's necessarily the end, but it just is the last puzzle piece to make the Switch library feel like fully robust. That's what we needed. And so to see that trailer end out the direct was like, it was really nice to see. My very first home console video game ever was Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, and that game brought so much joy to me. And this feels like it's carrying on the spirit of the wacky, football players
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the lava dragons
Yeah, for sure.
kind of experience. So it's really exciting to me
Yeah,
to see that.
I totally agree what you mean with now the Switch library is like not complete, but almost complete, because every franchise it feels that Nintendo has ever had has had at least one like seminal definitive game on the Switch, where Fire Emblem got Three Houses, and Pikmin got, it's now getting Pikmin 4, and Zelda got Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and 3D Mario got Odyssey, and Smash got
Metroid Dread.
Metroid got Metroid Dread, Smash got Smash Ultimate, and so on and so forth. So we have now waited for 2D Mario to get that seminal definitive game, and Mario Wonder looks like it can definitely be that. It will definitely be that.
Yeah. Just the visual refresh alone is just so astounding. They really decided,
Yeah.
hey, rather than going for the pure model approach that the new Super games did, and they look fine, the character models, but they look very, oh yeah, we're trying to animate a 3D character in a 2D space, having to make poses that adjust for that, the slower animation timings to make it feel more natural. And yeah, it does look fluid. I don't really think when I'm playing, oh yeah, this doesn't look right, but it definitely is more definitely feels something that was started on the DS in 2006 and kind of just was maintained and fleshed out and growed from that, but still kept relatively standard. And then New Super Mario Brothers became effectively the Mario brand, and all the games sort of blended together. But this game is like, no. We're still going to use 3D. We're still going to use 3D character models, but we're going to pose them as if they were the 2D sprites. We're going to proportion them more like the 2D sprites, and we're going to adjust the proportions of all the characters to make them read better for playability, to get them to be more scaled with each other, which we especially see with the princesses. And we'll talk about the fact that the princesses are in this game in a little bit more, because it's in and of itself is exciting. But I'm looking at these clips, and they give Mario and Paus such clear keyframes, but also just such dynamic and so whimsical of an animation style, right? So it really is that great blending of style and substance. All of the animations are super clear and super distinct, so you always know what Mario is doing and all that kind of stuff. Even small things like, oh, Mario now has a separate animation for when he lightly jumps off of an enemy versus bounces high off of a spring or off of an enemy, which isn't a new concept. Donkey Kong Country, the retro games did that. But to see it done in Mario with such like fun and charm alongside everything else and all of the other animations and poses for like enemies and stuff being really adjusted, not just to make sense for the gameplay and to emphasize certain things, but just to be like really stylish. It feels like it's something that's been really missing from the 2D entries for a long time, and I am delighted that we're getting that kind of quality. It honestly looks really stunning, and it looks effortless too. Like, it's almost, Nintendo makes it look easy how good, when really they probably were trying to do, probably really took a lot of time messing with the proportions, messing with the scale, trying to get the posing just right, which you can do because this is 2D, but still with models. But now having the advantages of having models alongside them having these strong 2D fundamentals, just really, really good looking game.
Yeah, and it's. Did you notice the mouth he has when the jumping animation? He has like a separate little mouth that's.
What?
It's like the side
No,
mouth,
the
yeah.
side mouth for the running is cute.
Yeah, the
It's
side
great.
mouth from the jump from the from the jumping animation. I thought that was just this like little detail that does so much for overall impression of the animations.
Yeah, like I have surprisingly little, I think, to say about the trailer in general. Just it looks really good. Like, I appreciate the art style. It looks like it's going to be fun. It looks like there's going to be all sorts of unexpected mechanics, which I love. That's the like best thing about Mario.
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, like you said, they showed off playable Peach, playable Daisy. I think based off of that, there are going to be other playable characters. Like, I don't think that's confirmed in any way, and they showed like the box art and daisies on it. But just the idea that at the end of the trailer they showed like Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach hitting the thing. So there's more characters than can be on screen at once. And so that kind of implies to me there may be other new characters.
My gut feeling is that if there are playable characters and they're not introducing any new ones, I feel like Blue Toad is going to be like a toggleable option like New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I mean,
Yeah.
they did put the Blue Toad
They have options for
on
the
cover.
Yoshis.
And yeah, the 4-color Yoshis are there. But I feel like if there's going to be like an unlockable, I'm going to call our page from our good friend Mondo Mega, who was talking about the Super Nintendo world and how, the 6 playable characters match the 6 power-up bands that they currently sell, and how currently there are plans to do a couple more Mario character power-up bands, namely Toadette and Rosalina. I don't know if they're going to put more characters, but if they are, those two would probably be the ones that I would expect them to do if they are doing unlockables.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just the 6 that we have plus the, and all the Yoshis, and then they're done.
Yeah, it could go either way. It's like the extra styles in Mario Maker that was one style.
Oh,
but,
good.
yeah, but yeah, Rosalina's probably the safest bet. You could have some outside characters with outside shots, like maybe Pauline or Waluigi. But I would say, yeah, Toadette and Rosalina are the safest bets.
And from there, what else do I have to say? Actually, I want to touch on something that you mentioned before, WestEgg. The fact that Mario is often the best when it just throws ideas at you. And this is something I highly agree with, and it's something that a lot of the strongest Mario games are just really known for, especially the more recent 3D entries, where you're just getting idea after idea after idea, concept after concept after concept. Here's Mario playing with a new mechanic, here's a new stage mechanic, here's all of that kind of stuff. And I will say that was a feeling that I was starting to lose with the new Super Mario games. They're all still really strong games, but
Yeah, absolutely.
like a few years ago, I was playing through most of the Mario games again during lockdown, and I played Mario. I played New Super Mario Bros. Wii, then I played New Super Mario Bros. 2, then I played New Super Mario Bros. U relatively back to back, and I couldn't help shake the feeling when playing U that I was like, oh, most of these mechanics and ideas were already done in Wii, and it's not really bringing that much fresh to the table. And I don't even just mean like the visuals and the music, even like the level mechanics, certain things that are being based off. It really does feel like, oh, this is more of a refresh or a remix of what we just did than something that really feels like they're doing a bunch of new ideas. And again, couple that with the look of the game, of the new Super games being just the Mario brand at this point. And it really was that idea of, oh, this game kind of is just feeling safe little by the numbers. This game says, hey, we're going to have this mechanic where every level there's this weird flower you pick up, and we're just going to throw a new idea at you. Moving pipes, lights on, lights off, stretchy characters, timer challenges, enemy rushes, all of those different kinds of things, baking those into the levels. And yeah, that's Mario, throwing a bunch of weird and wacky ideas consistently at you to just give you something fun to sink your teeth into. And the level design in general does look pretty good. And I like a lot of the new enemies and gimmicks that they're showing, besides just the Wonder Flower. But the Wonder Flower really is that highlight of, oh, they're really pushing that sort of Mario, let's get weird, let's throw ideas at you, let's be earnest about it, and let's have fun philosophy that a lot of the other games like really embrace, and that really gets me excited.
Ideas in Mario, there are like different types or different approaches on how you throw ideas at the player, where in 3D world you had like one idea per level that's executed upon the concept, it twists on the concept, etc. And so there's different amount of that ideas, design philosophy, I feel. And the games that go furthest with that philosophy, I feel, that's Galaxy, where sometimes every planet has a separate idea. So you go through ideas like in a matter of minutes or maybe even in a matter of seconds. And I hope Mario Wonder really matches Galaxy in that maybe when you touch the Wonder Flower, you will get like new ideas at like every frame, maybe, to really lean in onto the idea assault idea.
It's so exciting to just see 2D Mario really just go for that again.
Yeah, so overall, I think it was a pretty good direct. Everyone else kind of just enjoyed where Nintendo's heading towards the end of the year.
I got like 4 Mario games announced, so like, I mean, obviously that was the best direct of all time. Wasn't the most balanced direct, probably, but I mean, I'm still happy, so I'll take what I can get.
I liked it. Yeah, again, I don't think every direct, no direct is perfect, but this one had things I liked, and overall, I'm not going to nitpick it too much.
I felt like 10% of it was like mind-blowingly exciting, awesome dream game announcements, and then the other 90% was just meh.
Yeah, for me it was a surprising direct because I was out of the rumor mill a bit, so didn't know about 2D Mario and didn't know about Super Mario RPG. I was really satisfied with the direct on like a Mario point of view, less satisfied from a Metroid point of view. Cried a little bit inside, but
the good news about no Metroid Prime 4 is that it still leaves the possibility open for Metroid Prime 4 being the first we see of the next Nintendo console's graphics.
Ooh, 4K Metroid Prime 4K.
Someday. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up our discussion on the direct. And I did want to bring back the idea that this podcast is going to be kind of a collaborative effort between what we're doing here and the rest of the Famiboards community. And so we will have a thread available on the website where you can pose questions and have discussion regarding the podcast. Since we are obviously starting our first episode here, we're going to be taking some questions from Josh5890 for today. But in the future, please be sure to comment with your questions, and we'll definitely get to them on the show. So the first question we had from Josh was, with seemingly 2 character slots left for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, who is your dream character that you would love to see added? It can be a returning character or a newcomer.
I have the perfect suggestion, and it is Il Piantissimo.
Oh,
bring him
that's a
in.
That's a deep cut.
That's good. That's great.
Nice. Is that from Sunshine?
Yeah, it's the guy. It's the guy that
he's
races
from
you.
Sunshine.
That's a good one.
Just for an odd pick, I think he would be a fun addition.
And you could have like he could be like another middleweight that's like the same stats as Mario to sort of mimic the fact that, you know, oh, he raced Mario and used all his moves. I think that'd be like a really fun addition. My addition is way more basic, but is already a tour character, but it's kind of obligatory. Just give us Pauline. Please give us Pauline. She's right there.
Pauline would be good, yeah.
She's in tennis. She's in golf. She's in soccer. Put her in, please. Let her be the last big character of this DLC. I know you're probably gonna have to like make a separate outfit for like the bikes and stuff. Just put her in the pantsuit. Put her in the pantsuit for the bikes and the ATVs. Keep her in the dress for the carts. Do it. Everyone will love it. I promise. Though if we're talking about the character who's not like already in tour or whatever, I'm still kind of sad that they never put Cappy in to like any of these spin-offs, and I'd like to see Cappy driving a little car.
That'd be cute. Okay. Bellydrum, do you have a dream Mario Kart character?
Yeah, Banjo.
Ooh.
Banjo's a Mario.
That's a fun third-party pick.
Banjo is canonically in the same universe as Mario, in my
Really?
in my opinion. Yeah.
I think that was intended. Yeah.
Banjo originally debuted in Diddy Kong Racing.
Racing, yeah.
And as we know, Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong are in the Mario.
Yeah,
universe,
you can't argue with
by
that.
extension.
I'm guessing
so is
Conker
Banjo.
isn't getting the invitation to rejoin the Mario extended universe, I guess.
Okay, so for my character, I'm going to go with one I actually kind of wanted for Smash Brothers, but I think maybe even better for Mario Kart, and that is the Umbrella Man from Hanafuda Cards.
Whoa.
Huh?
Right? I think that would be an amazing character. You like cell shade him like obviously the art style of Hanafuda Cards. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mario Kart Tour has at least a couple kart pieces that are themed after like Mario based Hanafuda cards.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring that character in, you bring in those kart pieces. I think you'd have something that like has a lot of fun synergy with it. That could be pretty neat.
Yeah. It would just be silly to see, but I think it would be like such a deep cut and it would educate people. That's kind of my dream character. But okay, we do have one more question from Josh, which is, after the recent Nintendo Direct, does Nintendo have enough software coming out to reach their goal of 15 million Switches sold this current year? 15 million is quite a bit for the seventh year, like financial year of a console. I think they've given it their best shot. Obviously Mario Wonder is going to be a huge hardware mover probably. Tears of the Kingdom is also going to continue to push hardware. I think they'll get close to it. I'm going to say that they will, but won't go too far over it.
Yeah, the target, it's just kind of tough given like where they are. The Mario announcements, like Mario RPG, and especially Mario Wonder, are probably the closest they're going to get to it, given that, we've already done like 2 generations of Pokemon. We got 2 major Zelda games out of the way. And, riding the success of the $1.3 billion movie and the opening of the theme park over in Hollywood, there's a chance that this could bring in a lot of new blood. But at the same time, there also are probably a lot of people who like Mario who've already purchased a Switch. So it'll be tough, but maybe, the fact that, we have Nintendo's really pushing for that sort of multimedia. Oh, here's the movie. I'll go to the theme park. Oh, and now come and play our game. Maybe that will be exactly what they need, but I do think it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Switch has, since the Mario movie and Tears of the Kingdom come out, have had 2 months where they've been the best-selling console in North America, tracked by Circana, and they've also been doing really good numbers in Japan that we know through Famitsu weekly reports. So I think they've really got the momentum to probably meet their goals if they can keep it up, and this holidays might potentially be huge.
Well, here's hoping that Mario Wonder climbs to top 10 best-selling Switch games. Deserved.
I don't see how it doesn't.
For what
It
will
probably
be
will.
the game of the generation. Clearly, Zelda Who. But no, I do think at the very least it's gonna sell a lot of units, a lot of units.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where it'll go. Will it outsell Spider-Man? I mean, maybe initially. That's actually an interesting question because that game has both Mario and the recent Spider-Man games have both been really successful. So curious to see where that shakes out. But yeah, I think in terms of game sales, successful for everyone. But yeah, I'm definitely at a wait and see approach when it comes to like hardware specifically.
I have zero education on the subject.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna go ahead and say probably not.
Fair.
I think 15 million is like a big. I don't know the history of how well 2D Mario's tend to sell consoles. I think Super Mario Bros. Wonder will sell a ton very quickly, and since it is the holiday game, it will likely sell a lot of consoles as well. But this late into the console's life cycle, I think so many people already have it. But then again, this, there are a lot of people who are probably waiting for a reason to upgrade to an OLED, and those will also contribute to the overall Switch sales. So, I really have no idea, but I'm just going to estimate that no, it won't. They won't hit 15 million, and no, the Nintendo Switch will not outsell the PS2 as a little bonus.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a long shot. Oh, sorry. Go on, Irene.
I think that yes, it's true that the Mario brand is on an all-time high right now, or one of the many all-time highs that the franchise has had. But at the same time, it's like making these amazing Mario games are making people really excited about Mario. But I think 6 years into the Switch's life cycle, 90% of people who love Mario already have a Switch. So it could be a situation of like, yes, these games will sell a ton, but they will only sell a ton to existing consoles. And there has to be a cap somewhere, or like
There definitely is, but I mean, kids turn 10 every year. Like, there's graduations, just Christmases, so on and so forth. So there's always going to be some demand, but I think you're right that it's definitely slowing down, and it's going to be interesting to see if it gets that far. Okay, so but that yeah, we just went over some questions we had from Josh5890, which in the future we'll be taking questions from the community. So if you have any questions you'd like to see discussed on a future podcast, please just be sure to go to our thread on Famiboards, comment your question, and if it's good, we'll go ahead and get to it. So I think that does it for this episode of the podcast. I wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to talk with us. I think it went a little longer than we initially expected.
sure.
I mean, that's just what happens when Mario's here.
Right?
There's a lot to talk about.
It's direct season. Of course, we are happy to talk.
All right, so that will do it for this episode of the Famiboards Discussion Club. I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in and listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I think we had a lot of fun discussing for you today. And if you did enjoy it, I did want to encourage you to leave a comment or a review for whatever platform you're listening to this on. Maybe share it out between people you think may enjoy it, because that will help the podcast grow a lot. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. Hope to see you again in the future.
Yeah, super grateful for everyone who has been listening in on the podcast. It was a lot of fun to talk to Rex, as it always is. And bye for now.
Yeah, thanks for listening in. This has been really fun for me, kind of getting to talk to my fellow Fami members. Looking forward to the future of this podcast.
Likewise. Really excited for future episodes. Really excited to have yet another reason to talk about Mario with everyone and have some fun with the community and just have a good old time. So take care, everyone.
Peace out, Famiboards.
Bye-bye.
Bye.